So we're moving on to a section that I call Pilates and stretch. So we're going to use some Pilates exercises that are really good to strengthen your body, to prepare you for pregnancy and to take you through your pregnancy. And then also some lovely stretches that really are worthwhile doing as well. So the first thing we're going to do is go into an on all fours position. So I'm going to get Fee to do that for me now. So she's going to go onto her hands and knees. It's really important when you're doing this position that your knees are in line with your hips and that your shoulders, hands are all nicely in line. Now it's really important to hold your core correctly, so we need to establish also a neutral spine, and Fee's holding that neutral spine position for me absolutely perfectly. But if you're not sure what neutral spine is, it's where you've got that small curve in your lower back. Just pull up into what we call a cat stretch, so just lift up, and actually that's a really lovely stretch on your back. And now drop back down until your tailbone is slightly lifted, not too high, and your eye level should be just above the line of your fingertips. You should be looking down at the floor, looking down at your fingertips, checking that you're in the right positions. Again, helps to keep the back of the neck nice and long. Now the final thing you need to really focus on is the position of your shoulders. Now I'm going to ask Fee to bend her elbows slightly and tuck her elbows in and draw her elbows close to the side. Imagine you've got a pencil stuck underneath each armpit and you're trying to hold your elbows in as close as you can. Now Fee's got a slightly lifted scapula here, so you can see though that she is starting to work through. This is a really good exercise for her to do because she does have this lift in her scapula, so this is going to help to strengthen the muscles to try and draw the scapula down. Again, really important for your back strength throughout your pregnancy, so a good exercise for Fee to start working on now. Holding this position, you now want to think about holding everything still, connecting to your core muscles. I'm going to ask you to take a breath. I'd like you to do the same thing. As you exhale, lift your right hand off the floor, peel it off the floor, circle your wrist around a couple of times and then place the hand back down on the floor and change. Now the whole point of doing this is that the back should not move at all. What you should feel though is a shift in your tummy as you work from one side to the other, and this is your core muscle activating your deep core muscle in your tummy called your transversus abdominis. This is a very important muscle during pregnancy. It gets completely stretched as you go through your pregnancy, and we want to keep it strong all the way through. Really important for muscle strength and for back support as well. So Fee's holding that nice neutral spine as she does that exercise. I'm just going to get her to relax now, and you can do the same by just sitting back into a praying position. You can use a block underneath your head or a cushion underneath your head just to support the head. And this is a lovely position to be in, and you want to try and relax your back as much as you can in this position here. So just have a little bit of a rest, release the back. And then you're going to come back into your on all fours position. So Fee's going to come back into a position, but this time we're going to challenge the upper body a little bit more. So we're going to do a press up. Now we're going to keep this box position, but I'm going to get Fee to tuck her elbows right in. In fact, Fee, if you put your hands slightly narrower, slightly closer together, and that will help her to really establish this closed in feeling. Now she's going to bend the elbows, keeping her eye level above her fingertips. She's going to take a breath. As she exhales, she's going to lower down towards the floor, keeping her eye level over her fingertips, and then lift back up. So try that with Fee now. Take a breath. As you exhale, lower down. Keep the spine nicely drawn in tight by using your core muscles so the spine doesn't move. Lowering down. Now Fee's going to do a few more repetitions. She's going quite low towards the floor, which is quite tough to do. She's also allowing the elbows to drop down towards the floor. This is a slightly easier version of this exercise. I'm now going to ask Fee to shove her body weight slightly further forward and do the exercise without dropping the elbows towards the floor. And this is how you can progress the exercise and make it a little bit harder. Still try to tuck the elbows right in if you can. I'm just going to ask Fee to do 2 more of these. And do 1 more Fee, but don't go quite so low. So if you are finding that quite challenging, just drop down halfway and lift back up, and you'll find it slightly easier, and then relax back. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do a stretch for the hip area. So to stretch out the hips, I'm going to ask Fee to bring her right knee up, and we call this, or I call this, the stork stretch. So you're going to bring the right leg out and extend the left leg behind you, or vice versa, whichever leg you're on is fine. Now turn the knee out to the side and have your lower leg coming across you slightly. Make sure your knee feels comfortable in this position. And then I'm going to ask for you to just drop her upper body down towards the floor and just relax down. This gives you a lovely stretch in this area here. It stretches the deep hip rotator muscles that attach to the sacrum, attach to the spine. These muscles can get very tight throughout pregnancy, so again, a good stretch to practice now. And also you would have used a lot of these muscles when you were doing your strength section earlier, so a good stretch to be doing. So hold that stretch. Try and pull your tummy back towards your spine and think about lifting your tailbone up slightly as you do this. And that will help with the stretch. And then change sides. So making sure the knee comes slightly out from the sideline of the body, dropping down into the stretch position, stretching through and holding that there. That's good. Okay, feet, so coming up now, we're just going to do one more exercise, and I'm going to ask you to stay in a kneeling position. You can do this in a seated position as well. So if Fee goes back into a kneeling position now, we're going to do an exercise called the dumb waiter. So you're going to hold your arms up as if you were carrying a tray in front of you, tuck the elbows in, and then part the hands to take a breath out. As you exhale, part the hands, squeeze the shoulder blades in to the back of the rib cage, really trying to tighten through the back of the rib cage here, opening through the chest, and again, activating those all-important core muscles. I'm going to ask you to tuck her elbows in though, which is quite hard for her to do, I know, and then try and draw the shoulder blades out. So draw the shoulder blades in, I should say, and release. Now, Fee finds this quite hard because of the position of her shoulders, but that's exactly why this is so important for her to do. So I'm going to put my fingers right into the middle of the back, and I want her to imagine that her shoulder blades were squeezing my fingers right into the centre of her spine, and I'd like you to do the same thing. So just do this one more time. That's it. And then release and relax. And just to finish off, we're going to do a stretch now for the upper arm and through the rear of the shoulder. So just bend the arm back behind you, and if you pull right across, you'll feel a stretch go into that tricep muscle that you worked through in your press-ups. That's it. And then just change sides.